everyone. This is Patty Post, your host of the You Persevere podcast. I am the founder and CEO of Checkable, where we are making it easier for you, mom or dad, to take on your healthcare from home with rapid diagnostics and an app that connects you to a telemedicine provider if you should need someone for a treatment plan if you tested positive. This podcast is for entrepreneurs and business owners, and I really want you to keep persevering. And this episode today is about short of me because I'm in a stressful time right now raising money. If you're in a capital raise right now, I'm giving you a virtual hug, and I'm going to tell you everything is going to be okay. It's going to be fine. You will raise the money. You will. It might not be on the terms that you want. It might not be as fast as you want. You might have some, sorry if you have kids in the car, but you might have some oh shit moments. Like, I can't even believe this is happening. Believe me, I do. It is literally the first thing that I wake up to in the morning. I look at what my email is saying because I've sent out so many emails for fundraising. But what I wanted to come on here and say is a lot of things happen when you are raising capital in your business. One, as a CEO and the person that's driving the business and responsible for raising the money, you step back and you focus on fundraising. And you need to be sure that your team is set up to operate when you are not as accessible. I still can do better at that. So hello, that's me, like saying I don't have everything right. I think I didn't fundraise soon enough. I think I could have prepared my team better for me fundraising right now if I would have started saying it in January and like put it on the calendar. So right now it's August 1st. And if you plan on fundraising, you need money by December, you should fundraise now. And you should let your entire team know that 80% of your schedule is going to go to fundraising. That other 20% is one-on-ones with your team and really setting the strategy straight. If anything has gone off course, get that back on course. I say that because right now I'm fundraising and my team is still coming to me for things, and they should be because I'm the leader. I didn't set them up right. And if I would have done it differently, I would have said in May, hey, I'm taking June and July and August, and I'm just going to fundraise. Horrible time to fundraise, by the way, because a lot of people are on vacation, like for weeks on vacation. And it's just a bad time to fundraise if you're going to fundraise in the summer. So that was a bad part for me. I mentioned one-on-ones. Here's something that's really important for one-on-ones. Have them in your schedule. And if you don't have them on your schedule, tell your team that they can put them on your schedule, especially when you're fundraising. But just throughout, you should have one-on-ones. I think one-on-ones are even more important than the team meetings. And I'm not very good at that. It's like once every month, once every 6 weeks. I'm going to them once a week. I'm just checking in quick with them. I say what I have to say and they say what they have to say. And that's this next piece that I'm talking about is say what you have to say. If you haven't read the book, Radical Candor, you need to read it. And if you're a person like me, I'm a people pleaser. I don't like confrontation. And I am someone that is totally patient and fine with things for a long time until I'm not. I operate like that in business and I operate like that in my personal life, like with your kids. Keep doing the same thing over and over and over again until suddenly one day when you're so stressed and frazzled, you blow your top because you can't handle it anymore. That is not how you should operate in your business. And when you're fundraising and you're stressed about those meetings, you get a ton of no's. It's one after the other. And you are trying to go back and make the story better. They're giving you more things to think about. It's a time of stress. And when that happens, you end up putting a microscope over how much money you're spending on different activities, on your talent, on your strategy, and the overall business. So if you are not having that radical candor in your one-on-one meetings, what's going to happen is you're going to do these check-ins, fine, or you're not going to do any check-ins. You get fundraising, you start looking over with a microscope, you identify some things, and you hit it just head on. And your talent is like, whoa, where did this come from? I didn't even know I was doing it bad. And you're like, you've been doing it bad for a long time. Like, I didn't know that. Not a good situation. So if you're listening to this and you're like me, get those one-on-one meetings on the calendar. Start fundraising 3 months earlier than you think you need to. And buy the book Radical Candor, because learning to say things, I had a great example in this. So I used to be really afraid of public speaking, and I had to learn breath work. I had to learn memorization. I had to learn how to put the story together. And I had to learn to recognize my anxiety with public speaking was the same emotion as my enthusiasm for public speaking. It's the exact same emotion. It's just what you're telling your brain. If you are anxiety, stress ridden about it, or if you're really excited. So I've learned to do all of those things, and no longer do I get into a position of speaking and I don't get stressed. I'm actually really excited about it. I'm like happy. I talk to people beforehand. Sometimes I even like go off script a little bit or ask questions like in the middle just to break it up. And I think it's the same way with addressing conflict and being radically candor about things. Is once you start acting like that, and once you start having those conversations, the people across the table from you are going to be more candor with you, and they are going to be higher performers because you are giving them honest feedback. And it's also very important to do it with ourselves. I talked about it in the episode from July 27th that it really is the time we have to stop rationalizing some of our behavior and not being honest with ourselves. This is the exact same thing. If you have trouble with conflict or you avoid, hit it head on and write it down and talk to someone about how you avoid hard conversations. And that maybe you like to operate up here. I'm putting my hands up in the air, like around my head, rather than like down by your belly, because you feel it like in your gut when you have that conversation that you need to have. And once you do it, it's going to feel that much better. So what I have done is I work with HR. So I talk to her about things that I need to work on. I talk with my coach about things that I need to work on. And then I write them down specifically. And in my meetings, I let my colleague talk, and then I have my piece of what I'm going to say. So I'm actively working on this. I think it can get better. Right now, it's like totally high stress. So it's a little bit more in your face, but I wish I would have known this a long time ago, because when you're in a sales role, it's all or nothing. It's like, oh, you're making quota, you're not. Well, if you're not, then you don't really have a job here. And with what we're doing and what most of humans do in their jobs is they have a performance, and having those conversations on a regular basis and going through the hard stuff, the hard conversations is what's important, is how we are going to get better. So that was I just wanted to come in here and say it's important. It's something that I'm working on and I can do better. I'm asking my team to work on it with me. And I'm always trying to be a better leader and entrepreneur, because it's not always work harder, but work smarter. And this is one way that you can work smarter. And it's in this you persevere that you have to keep refining yourself. And it's just like with weightlifting or with exercising, that we're going to plateau. And if we don't address some of these things that we know we aren't very good at, or if we just, oh, hey, we're going to have HR talk about that, or we're going to have someone else do that hard conversation, I'm really challenging you to do it. You get it done. make the hard conversations, grow as a team. And sometimes you'll realize that those hard conversations lead to something better because maybe it's that person isn't the best fit here and they're going to flourish in another role. So you can't look at it as it's always bad. It could be positive. You could grow together in that same role. That's hopefully what you do because talent is so precious. And we put so much effort and energy and investment into people. But sometimes it's best to say, you know what, through this exploration and this exercise of radical candor over time, through my documentation, I've seen that nothing has changed in the last how many weeks. It's a good thing. I really encourage you all to do it and have it with your family too. I just read Andy Dunn's book. It's called Running a Startup and Losing My Mind. And he talks about mental illness in entrepreneurship. And he specifically has, he's bipolar and he's manic depressive. And for 16 years, he went untreated. And he called it the ghost. And the ghost would present itself now and again. And he would have this manic behavior. But coming from when he was 20 and he was diagnosed with it and hospitalized, and no one talked about it. It would present itself, but they'd say, oh, well, you're stressed. You have all of this going on, even though they knew the diagnosis. Even though, funny enough, his family had doctors, psychologists that were in his family and knew of the symptoms, knew of the treatments, and even his grandma had the same disorders, and they never talked about it. And if they would have, he might have been diagnosed earlier. He probably would have experienced happiness a lot earlier too. So even in our families, in our relationships, that radical candor, even though you don't have to be a jerk. Like that's a lot of times people are like, ooh, I don't want to be a jerk. Being honest doesn't mean being a jerk. Being honest, being candor about things is being upfront about feedback, about a situation, and understanding how you can move forward on a positive note. Or what happened, just like hashing it out. That's just, you don't have to yell, you don't have to scream. It can be a normal adult conversation. So really recommend everyone do it. Marriage, siblings, work, everything. I think it's good. So with that, that's my little exercise that I'm working on. I hope all of you find some benefit in it as well. And I encourage you to please follow us on Instagram at You Persevere. And we're going to be having our bits for our podcast on there. And then I'm Patty Post CEO. So follow me on TikTok or Instagram and Patty Post on LinkedIn. So all the social things, I am active, sharing all of this wonderful stuff that we're doing and really encouraging you to keep on persevering. And today, I want you to have those hard conversations and be radically candor. And Andy Dunn, thank you so much for that book. I loved it. I read it over the weekend, and I appreciate the copy of it that you gave to us at Founder Made. I am a fan, and congratulations with all of your success with Bonobos. So with that, keep on persevering because you can do it.